Hey guys, thank you for watching. Do you ever wonder why some plans fail? Why some things that we invest in often hit a wall? Why sometimes we pour our sweat, even our tears into making some plans happen and they go nowhere and we sort of just leave them there and start over or do something totally different. I think God's word gives us some wisdom as far as how believers specifically should, have a healthy view in regards to the things we set our minds and efforts to. Most of you are familiar with the story of the global flood in Genesis chapter 6, Noah's Ark. God gives this man the blueprints to build this ark, this giant coffin, if you will, because that's pretty much what it looked like. It was a giant floating coffin, and God was going to start over. This was like the reset here for all humanity. And so he uses this man Noah, who was a righteous man, who believed in God and obeyed God. He gives him the blueprints, and he's faithful to build this ark. And I want you to notice that Noah built it, but God filled it. Okay? Noah built the ark, but God was the one that filled the ark. And what I mean by that is that after Noah built the ark, he didn't have to go and capture the animals and devise a plan to get two of every kind of animal into the ark. No, part of God's directions were simply to build the ark, but God would fill the ark. And I think we can find a lot of wisdom in that. But before we go any further, let's read the verse here in Genesis 6:20. It says here, 2 of every kind will come to you. 2 of every kind will come to you. Now, this verse by itself might not seem very significant, but when you look at what it's actually saying here, is that there is a lot of significance to this. Will come to you, especially the second part, right? This tells me that I don't have to strive to maintain, okay? God, if God is in it, if God is in the plans, God is going to make it happen. I don't ever want to be in a plan that God is not in. I don't want to be in it if God is not in it. I don't want to strive to gain if God is not going to maintain, right? If it's just me, I would rather not even try. But if God is in it, it's going to come to pass. And that's what we see time and time again in the scriptures. When God is in the works, when God is the one that's called you to do something, you know what? Where God guides, he provides. Where God leads, he feeds, right? I've seen that in my life personally, and I'm sure some of you have already as well. You've experienced God's faithfulness, right? You've built that ark, if you will. You've dug that hole, and you've seen God fill what you build. You've seen God do awesome things through simple obedience and faith from your part. There's one passage in regards to filling God's kingdom, to growing the church, and bringing people to Christ. And it's important also to understand that there's a lot of significance between the saving of this family, starting over, and salvation, bringing people into God's kingdom. We need to remember that God is the one that brings people into God's kingdom. I have never saved a single person. No one person can save another person. Only Christ can do that. Only the Father can draw someone to the Son. We read this verse here in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 7. Neither he who plants is anything, nor he who waters, but God who gives the increase. But God who gives the increase. Look at what Psalm 127:1 says. Unless the Lord builds a house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. So you see what I'm saying? There are going to be plans that are going to fail, and they are meant to fail. That is a good thing if plans that God is not in fail, okay? Because you don't want to be successful where God has not called you to be successful. I would rather fail in my own plans and be successful in God's plans, in his own timing, of course. And I just want to leave you with that. Just a good reminder for us. And I think we're just going to have more peace if we just let God fill our ark. If we let God fill the empty vessels that we put out there, right? God is faithful to accomplish the things that he has called us to be involved in, to participate in, right? But we need faith and we need obedience. We need to look to God and trust that he's going to build it, because where God guides, God provides. God bless you.